Hello, everyone. I'm Margarita Crystal Lotus, and I have with me here today a wonderful guest and artist, Darinka Blagash. Say hi, Darinka.
Hi there. Glad to be on the show.
Yes. So today we're talking about vibrational art. And I don't know if you have understood what a vibrational art is, but we're going to cover that topic today. So I'm going to ask you, Darinka, both of us, we have done artwork that has vibrations in it. Would you like to explore a little bit what that is?
Sure. My work for 30 years has been about embedding the energy frequency of what I was initiated to into the divine, into all the work that I do. So it is a level of consciousness that is embedded through color and through light and through motion at moments of time when a person is either painting or drawing. So, or dancing or singing or making music or whatever. So vibration is the vibration that a being is at when they create something as a creator. So looking at it from that perspective, vibrational work comes from, everybody makes it, though everyone makes it from the vibration that they're at. So when you are at a vibration that is expanding and allowing the divine and allowing the depth of wholeness to be imbued in your own system, then that same frequency comes out in your creation, no matter what your creation is. In my case, it's artwork. In your case, it's artwork and gem codes and any other thing. So that's how I see it.
Wow, yeah. I've seen lots of your work, and you have also painted me, portraits of me, and I could see that when you painted me that time, and I had a birthday, if you remember, I did really not know what the outcome would be. But when I saw the painting, I was so wonderstruck because you've caught something in that portrait that I hadn't seen about myself. So I was really mesmerized by that. And that's a number of years ago. And I know that you've progressed also in working with something that is also very important for the healing of the planet, and in particular, healing of the waters.
Mm.
You've made this water goddess painting. We're going to show it to you in a little bit. Would you like to discuss about that, see what you want to say about your water goddess?
Let me add a few things. One is that when artwork is made, when I make artwork, I make it only in the present. And I only work with the energy of the present. I don't actually project in time or space, because the only real place to make anything happen is in the present. And so in 1993, I was painting an experience that I had in the water off of the coast of Honduras. There's an island called Roatan, right beside another island called Utila. And Roatan has an area of the island where there's a 200-foot cliff wall that goes down into the ocean. So you can be snorkeling and it's only 4 feet of water, and then suddenly, in a moment, you're just completely thrown out into the ocean like Nemo. So I had that experience, and it's really startling because one moment you're swimming and you're looking at all these beautiful fish and coral, and the next moment you're in open ocean. And I met an energy in that moment because it was such a moment out of a natural or normal experience that I might have guessed could have happened to me. It was a shock. And in that moment, I met an energy, and I wanted to paint it. So I came back to Toronto, and I decided to minimalize my palette to only 4 colors of blue. So I picked the 4 main blues. And from that moment, I went into the feeling of what it felt like to go and be ejected into open ocean. So it was that whole experience of being in that open water frequency. I had no idea what I was going to meet or what was going to come. So I painted for a while, and then, I left my piece and I went off, and a few days later I was on the phone, and I didn't really, I look at the piece, but I don't necessarily work on it all the time. And as I was on the phone, a face literally appeared in the painting as if someone had projected it. And this was pretty miraculous because it had never happened before. Only one other time, actually no, one other time this happened on Maui. And so instead of, when something like that happens, it's like you see something from another dimension or another space and time. And the only thing to do is keep your eyes on it, because as soon as I take my eyes off of it, it's gone. Like I can't see it anymore. So I kept my eyes on it, and I delineated her face. And that face ended up being part of an entire body, which was already painted, which I didn't even know was a body at the time. And then I stepped back, and the full information of the water goddess came in. And maybe you can show the other image with the full water goddess later. So the frequency inside this painting is about the information that water is a conscious being. Water is not just stuff. Water, like us, is an actual being. And since we are made out of so much water, and so is the planet, and so are our brains, because water can be formed in so many states in the physics world, water is a very special medium. And I learned through the years of this painting that the imagery is meant to convey the message that water is conscious, water is programmable, water can change anytime. That means that we can change anytime. And so this is the magic of the energy that's in this piece. Once people see it or feel it, they have a very strong reaction. I don't think I've ever seen anybody without a strong reaction once they've seen this piece. Seeing it on an image on a computer is one thing, but when you see a piece live or stand in front of one, then it's a very different thing. And it does actually change the energy cells in the body, and it gives an initiation into this consciousness that water is conscious, and it helps us to become more awake and more conscious.
That we had a discussion the other day about making some prints of that same artwork and the difference in vibration from the actual painting and the printed pictures. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I really have. I just came with a meeting with the man who printed it, and there's an understanding now that I have that I didn't have clearly before, which is that when an artist paints something or when a creator makes something, they put themselves into it. That's what makes it the original piece. The full vibration is there. Once that image is reproduced, the reproduction will hold a certain amount of that energy, but it's not made by the hand anymore. It's made by a machine. So it might look similar, which it does. The colors of this particular painting are not reproducible. They cannot make it. I have tried the best methods available on the market. They cannot make the colors happen. So I have to, on a print, choose how it could look. So what you're seeing, of course, in the image that you project on a computer or anywhere else is a choice that I've made of, what's possible with imaging, because imaging can only bring you a certain amount of the message. It can't bring you the whole message, but it can definitely bring you enough of the message. You can code your messages. And as an artist, you kind of have to do that with your prints. You have to allow them to have enough of your coding so that the information still goes out, the vibration is still strong, but at the same time, it's not the same as, I can see you on the screen right now, but I'm not touching you, right? And if I'm touching you, if we have our hands together, or if I put my hand on your shoulder, you feel a certain something. But I can intentionally put my hand up like this, and I can now send a frequency to you through this medium and
Awesome.
tell you to feel it.
Yes.
Yeah. So this thing is what we're learning to do through everything, because everything's connected. So we don't need to feel slighted by media or telephones or radiation or anything really. We're God. We can do anything. But you have to
Love that what
believe
you're
that in your core. And paintings like this and the gem codes that you make, those are all reinforcements of the center, of the core of our being. And that's what makes them valuable and important to integrate, because everyone is on a massive awakening growth curve. And as people wake up, everyone's grabbing for a little something, you know, to climb with, or because floating down that river of pure self-love, as ecstatic as it sounds, most people are terrified of that kind of freedom. And artists have been the people who've come into the world and said, all right, I'll do it. I'll go in, you know, and we're the first ones to dance, and we're the first ones to sing, and we're the first ones to paint and image a new reality, and we're the first ones to say yes. And
Oh
that's
my goodness, you're speaking like you're reading my mind about these
there's not
things.
much people need to do. It's really about the magic happens when you put it on the wall. As soon as you put it up, it is a portal, and that portal starts functioning immediately. It's not really anything to do. It's just something that you add to your world. You can add it to your awareness if it's an image that you're going to look at a lot, to remind yourself. But the energy of the magic of these paintings that I've been painting for 30 years is that they all bring presence. They are present. I realized yesterday during another interview I had with the Noors Network, which is an entrepreneur network that I'm a part of. I realized there that what I really can give as a gift is the fact that I was initiated into being spoken directly to and speaking directly to spirit. I've always had that ability. Everybody has the ability, but we go through an initiation when we grow up, and in that initiation, some people have literally suppressed to the point of ignoring that connection, and that's what needs to wake up. That's it. So for me, when I was 18, I was drawing a tree, and I erased it for the first hour and a half until it was all gone. And I realized, well, nothing happening with me in this tree. And the instructor who was there, because it was a camp, I was the oldest kid at this camp. I was 18 years old. All the other kids were 12 and 13, and the counselors were only 16, and I was like as old as some of the facilitators. But I went because I'd never gone to camp, and I wanted to go. And and she said, you can't leave until you finish drawing that tree. You know, and leaving meant going back to the dining hall and having lunch. And I was hungry, and I thought, oh my God, I got to sit here by myself in this field and draw this tree. Oh, that's so annoying. But at the same time, I didn't want to let her down, because I'm one of the older students, and I'm thinking, okay, why can't I get it together to draw this tree? So, of course, a little bit of ego went in. And what happened after that, though, was miraculous, because as soon as everyone else disappeared, the tree began direct communication with me. And I heard things like, no, that line has to go over to the left. Okay, now it's got to go higher. All right, now draw from over here. And it was literally guidance on how to draw this tree, you know, by the tree itself. And so I spent another 2 hours, I think, on drawing this tree, but I was no longer erasing everything. I was actually in a creation process with the tree. And I was drawing and erasing, but it was creation-based. It was like it was forming itself, and it was showing me where it was on the page and how it was, and transferring from the 3D into the page, but it didn't lose any of its essence. And this is the key. Many people learn techniques. Techniques are useless unless you actually have a moment when you connect to imbuing the essence of the divine through that technique. And that's the flow.
Yeah.
And that only works when you are in the state of presence with yourself. You completely dedicated, and you start to open yourself up, and that's what art is. Art is that opening of yourself up for the divine flow. Everything else is just copying stuff, you know, making stuff up, you know, kind of just, you might as well be taking a bath, you know, like really there is no There is no flow until you actually make a commitment inside your heart that you will work from that place. It doesn't matter what your work is. But when you work from your heart and you're doing the divine work, it always looks the same. It always is completely 100% engaging. You never really feel time. Time is irrelevant. I sometimes have painted for 18 hours and I've gone to the bathroom maybe once or twice. I even forget to go to the bathroom. I haven't really eaten, but just imbued in this other experience, you know? And that's what's important in my work. This has just naturally evolved itself because of the commitment that I made to it. And it is a commitment. It's in your heart. It's not something that you say to someone, you know. You're actually speaking to your own heart, and you say yes to it, rather than saying, who are you? What do you want?
Yeah, I know this state too. I mean, when I do some of my creative work, that happens as well for me, and we work together also doing paintings together, and it happens, and it's like ecstatic. It's like your whole body is involved in it and nothing else exists. And this is what happened yesterday when I did another one of these gem codes. They just formed itself. I worked with crystals and then laying them out and then photographing them, but they were so fussy. They didn't want to come, and I was moving it around, and then this morning I realized that they were upside down. It had to be the other way around, and then it got created. It's so like I got my ego in a little bit of a twist there, got out of the presence instead of actually just seeing what was there. Yeah.
And it is a gift, because I think that in our world, we don't have discussions about what art is, what is artistry, what is creation. We don't have those discussions that actually involve the heart and involve the full essence of our being, you know, because we have many critical discussions about art, and we have many critical discussions about creating in general, but those are not moments when you can actually understand or feel what the art part of you is, or what the creator part of you is. I'm using this word very loosely, art, because art has been called so many things. It's almost like the same word as earth, you know, like earth is everything, you know. We're living on it, we're eating from it, we're destroying it, we're loving it, we're, you know, admiring it, we're ignoring it, you know. It's just the fact that we, the reason why art has been pulled out of so much of today's contemporary society in its true power and its true creation is because it will completely change society, completely. And so once we look into forms that we are growing into as beings, we need that creativity, because it's that creativity, it's that art, it's that influx of the divine that we are all yearning for. And in order to bring it back to our lives, then we look at other creators and we try to inspire ourselves through what other creators are doing. And inevitably, you know, a pure fine artist is someone who is doing the creating for the purpose of life. That person is not working to sell a painting. That person is not making something pretty for someone. That has nothing to do with it.
I just love when you said that, because that if you have such a thing going on in your mind, it's not going to happen. You just have to turn off all of that thoughts and just being right there and see these energies moving. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like great. Thank you for pointing that out, actually.
I just want to add another thing, which is that I know that you come from a very artistic family. You know, people who are shown in the Swedish Museum of Fine Art. And the thing I want to say is that sometimes it can be very intimidating, you know, coming from a family of creators who have a lot of social recognition in a certain society. Because, you know, intimidation is what has happened to art. People have become intimidated because walking into a gallery is intimidating, you know. There's a huge level of intellectualism that has taken over the pure essence of feeling in so many of these curated exhibitions. And the pure essence of feeling is the gift that every person can feel. But not all artwork is coming from a place of sharing that. You know, some artwork is basically art therapy. You know, it's that person, that creator, that artist, going through something. You know, trying to understand something, experiencing something through a medium, rather than their feelings or their body or whatever. They transform and translate that into a format. But not all artwork is a spiritual moment, you
Yeah.
know. And it's
Well,
important to know that you can actually feel the difference. And I'm talking about not just artwork, but creative artwork. You know, that when you do a gem code, you're just using other tools, but you're still the artist creating that frequency and that energy. You just happen to use crystals as your paintbrush and paint.
exactly. I wanted to also tie back to my heritage, because I know my mother has told me that she was really harassed in school when she grew up, because she's supposed to perform better doing art, and so she was really harassed. So she took on that. So I didn't have to do it. I came a little bit distance away from something like that, and I didn't feel that. I didn't feel I have to measure up or anything like that. Not in the area of art anyway. Maybe for my personal achievements, maybe, but not in the art process. So she gave me, actually, my mother and my father gave me really a great gift in actually accepting whatever we kids created, and I used that capacity, and I'm really thankful for that when I create, you know. And it's the best thing I could do is to do art. I mean, there is really no other activity than creating that's more satisfying, I must say.
Mm, yeah, I agree.
Yes, yes. So I'm so delighted, because maybe this hangout should be a series of hangouts where we discuss these things, because vibrational art transforms. It's clear that when we have great art, I mean, I'm not proposing that I'm the greatest artist. I just follow my heart when I do it, but it actually transforms the person who watches a vibrational art. If it's true from the heart, even if it doesn't look really anything to some people, because somebody has an idea how something should look, but when they watch and look at the artwork, they're mesmerized by it. They see gifts in there. They're changing the way how they believe about things. I mean, I've had a client who I did a gem code for, and she improved her marriage. They're still married. I have that testimonial on my website. Another person who I worked helped her in her business with a business gem code, and she improved her sales literally dramatically. And I also have that testimonial on my website. But that aside, the gift of that transformation is still there, you know?
I think it's important to notice our definitions. You know, when we say great art, what that really can be defined as is something like, because that's kind of, you know, a judgment. Something is great, something is not great. But if you look at it as communication, because it is communication, there are things that will talk to you, and you will be stopped by them, and you will not know why. Sometimes you will. But those are moments in life that you pay attention to, because those are moments of presence.
Yeah.
And I've had so many of those experiences in my life that I can string them together into almost, you know, I could probably write books on them, on how many times I've had moments of such synchronicity where what I'm feeling, thinking, doing, seeing are all matching up like 100%. And there isn't a lack of alignment in the form of manifestation. And what happens with some of my painting stories are very similar to yours. I have one friend who is a client for many years, and she put one piece up, and she was just thinking about how she wanted to change her career and how she wanted to start this new career, and that's all she was thinking about when she was putting up this painting. And the way she was putting up this painting was very large. A guy knocks on the door just as she's looking at the painting to figure out how she's going to get it up. He's wearing a full belt, like a carpenter's belt, and he says, "Hi, you need some help?" And he was actually kidding. He said, "I just happened to be in the neighborhood." And he was this old friend of hers that she hadn't seen for 10 years. And he literally just was in the neighborhood doing some carpentry work, and he helped her put it up.
Wow, that's amazing.
And as they were putting it up, yeah, as they were putting it up, the phone rings. And so she goes and answers the phone, and it's Anne Murray's agent. And Anne Murray wanted to re-enter the stage again, but she wanted some help in how she would re-enter the stage, you know, her staging, her movements, and her capacities. And this friend of mine just wanted to help restage people going back to stage, like people who perform in certain ways, who are singers, who are unfamiliar with the way they look, to help them be freer, because she's a dancer and she studied dance for years, and so she wanted to bring extra motion into these people. And she ended up having Amy Skye as a client and Anne Murray, and just the list continues. And that all happened when the painting went up, and the painting is called The Mystery Dance. And the lady's name is Serena Candello, and Serena Candello has since then done so much work around dance and now education for children. And she has a whole project called the Little Big Caravan of Joy that she takes to Africa, where she works with thousands of orphans. Mm-hmm. And she provides arts education, dance, and reintroduces culture into that society of orphans.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can change the world. Like anyone who is drawn to be creative in any form, for the highest good, of course, you could also transform your life. And if you use art that has been created with intention, with vibration, which you have to be totally present when you do it, when the artists do it, it could change literally your life. I mean, it's so amazing. It's so amazing.
I would say it will change. Could, never mind. It will do it. Period. I always say the same thing for 30 years. I said, as soon as you put this piece up, watch what happens.
Yeah, you have to have it out. You have to have it. You have to look at it. That's the only thing you should really do if we go back to what you have to do with it. But if you hide it away, you're hiding yourself away too. If you have a piece of art like that. So, yeah.
That's a very good point. If you hide it away, you hide yourself away. That's a good way to end it.
Yeah. So do you want to add anything before we end, Darinka?
Well, you could check my one of my websites is called thesmileoffice.com, and that has an area, a section with my artwork. There's a few other websites in construction right now. Another one is called art.inca.com. I don't know if we can put these in somehow, but the art.inca website is basically a place where you'll find a new thing I'm working on, which are commissioned spirit portrait pieces of people who come and pose. So you actually get the energy work that's being done in the moment, plus at the same time you get a piece to take home, which then will again transform your life. So you have a transformational experience while you're posing, and while you're posing you're actually meditating and going into your center, and then there's a piece that is for your altar afterwards.
Yeah, I have seen some of your portraits, and I have sat for one of those portraits myself, so I can really testify it really works. It's really, really amazing work, and we're going to add the links here on the recording so that people can go and see that website of yours. Yeah, thank you so much, Darinka, for being here. And I'm also going to say that if somebody's interested in working with gem codes, I will put a little slideshow after on the recording on about that, and also all the links to websites and how you can connect with us. Okay, do you want to say a last farewell here?
I just want to say follow your heart, and thank you, Margarita, for being such a visionary in your field and in your dedication to bringing more joy to this planet. Aloha.
Okay, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.